Increasing transport costs choking SMEs. Work begins on Sepik agriculture facility. And young team aims to make mark in NSL.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Monday's news. Small trade store owners in one of the most remote places in the Madang province say they are being choked out of business because of the increase in transport costs and food prices. Tap station on the border of Madang and Morabe gets its supplies from Leh, and with fuel charge increases, small airlines are passing on the cost to customers.
For many government and church workers, every time a plane lands in Tep, there is a sigh of relief because new food supplies and fuel arrive on that plane. But the cargo comes with its own story of hardships. Every store owner will tell you their business is being choked by high freight costs they have to pass on to the consumer.
Before me play random good, so now it's freight they killing me play straight.
Here in Tep, a packet of rice costs 10 kina. A kilo of sugar, another 10 kina, and a packet of the popular snacks biscuit, 2 kina. The price doubles when it lands in Tip. The trade store businesses used to be the easiest to run. Now they're among the most difficult. The biggest hurdle are the freight costs stemming from high aviation fuel prices and the costs charged by wholesalers.
One mobile company come, by that competition, by all right, only can drop in price. Or
in 2019, if the store owners don't see any relief soon, they may begin closing down their businesses, putting many public servants and church workers at a disadvantage. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Yanguru Mobile Squad Police Barracks in East Sepik is slowly taking shape as more houses are being built. Since initial groundworks and scoping in 2014, over 32 houses have been built with 6 near completion. EMTV News visited the site over the weekend.
Part of the special Sepik economic zone under infrastructure investment, 20 million kina was allocated to see the construction of the district's first mobile police barracks. Since the contract was awarded in 2014, over 30 houses have been erected, with 6 near completion. However, late arrival of building materials have dragged the project over its due date.
We try best loan. Finish loan by maybe 6 months. We try best loan by finish la work.
The barracks will accommodate a police mobile force unit. It will also be a model police barracks with facilities like a medical center, shops, plus recreation and training facilities.
We're going to put up some good, healthy competition for model templates in terms of law and order, investment in mobile police barracks.
Minister Maru says it is important to have a permanent barracks in Yanguru as it will boost investor confidence plus curb the increasing number of lawlessness along the Sepik highway.
The barracks is to service the requirements of East Sepik, West Sepik, and of course the border areas and the border requirements of our country. And I think it's a very exciting project and we are looking forward to the completion of the project. I want to thank the contractor and of course the Department of Commerce and Industry for managing the project. It's now picking up speed and we are looking forward to the completion of that project.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
Construction of the multi-million kina Sepik Plains cocoa seedling and chicken grain processing facility will start next month. The first shipment of building materials arrived in Wewak last week and will be moved to Yanguru once civil works are complete on the project site.
Since the inception of the special Sepik economic zone in 2013, much of the groundwork in feasibility studies and acquiring land have been completed, with this year to see the first stage of construction. Civil works have begun on a 12-hectare land which will host the region's largest cocoa nursery farm and a chicken grain processing facility. Building materials have arrived and work is set to start next month.
By Tuesday or Wednesday, we should be able to ship the first container of building material. And it's all going to go.
The processing facility and cocoa nursery will be spearheaded by innovative agro-industry following a share agreement signed last October and off the back of successful projects like the Ilimo Dairy Farm and the Surinki Agriculture Farm in Enga Province.
We're dealing with an investor, a lead investor like the Ella Group of Israel, who have now built a reputation in this country for delivering very successful projects in very difficult areas. The investors are here, agreements have been signed.
Once these facilities are completed, the cocoa nursery will supply 2 million cocoa pod borer resistant seedlings a year, and the chicken grain facility to supply chicken stock to major poultry farms throughout the country.
Instead of importing feed from Australia, we want to produce a lot of feed using grains that we can grow in the Sepik plain. So I think that's a very exciting part of this project.
Meanwhile, the national government has put in 30 million kina for equity shares in the project. Once it starts, an estimated 200 direct jobs will be created, plus outgrower participation, which will see thousands benefiting from this multi-million kina project.
A lot of jobs and cash flow will now circulate within the Sepik economy, and there will be a lot of demand for other goods and services as a result of the project. So I think everybody should get behind the project and support the project. We need to stop the politics. Our people deserve services, they're looking for jobs, our young people. We have to help contribute to the economy.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
The 42-kilometre power project from Wutung border post to Vanimo town is set to be complete by April this year. National Planning Minister Richard Maru announced this, saying these are exciting times for West Sepik as thousands living along the west coast of Vanimo will have electricity for the first time since independence. The minister also said the agreements of outsourcing electricity from Indonesia is still in place and is an effective way of providing this essential service to both West and East Sepik. A total of 5 million kina was used on the power project.
The power line project between Vanimo and Wutung in the West Sepik province. This is another exciting project. We are hoping to complete that by April. I've been assured by the CEO of PNG Power that that project should be completed by April, May, and the Prime Minister will then be able to go and open the Vanimo Wutung border post. It's also exciting for East Sepik once we get the power line completed. The opportunities for us to negotiate buying power from Indonesia and bringing it into West Sepik and East Sepik will become possible. And at this stage, we are being told we are able to buy power from Indonesia. It will be at a cost of about half the cost of what we are able to produce electricity for in East Sepik and West Sepik.
Government accounts officially opened today, paving the way for the state to begin payment for programs budgeted for under the 2019 national budget. According to Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan, the opening of government accounts now allow for Treasury to begin the process of issuing warrants for government expenditure items, including funding for the tuition fee-free program, health expenditure, funding for government departments. Whilst government accounts have opened, the Finance Secretary has also reiterated the ultimatum given by the Department of Finance for all APAC assets to be returned by this Thursday. This is to allow for the closure of APAC accounts with a report to be provided to government. An update on this exercise is expected to be provided in the coming days. You're at National EMTV News. Stay tuned. We'll have more after these messages. Welcome back. The Waigani District Court recently cleared the Chief Investment Officer of National Superannuation Fund, NASFund. Mr. Brown had been charged by the Police Fraud Squad in July 2018 following NASFund's request to look into the accounts of one of its investments. According to the Super Fund, these charges were false, with prosecutors failing to produce a credible case against the fund's Chief Investment Officer. In a statement, NASFund Chairman Hulala Tokome said the court's decision recognizes the good governance and regulatory obligations within the superannuation industry and those entrusted to look after employee savings and investments. With this issue now put to rest, Chairman Tokome said the fund would now look to concentrate on the bigger issue of looking after the interests of its members throughout the country. Operations at the Wafi Golpu project area remain suspended since last week following a protest by alleged landowner groups. Wafi Golpu Joint Ventures Executive Project Director Brian Bailey said staff were evacuated as a precautionary measure, as is hopeful that this issue will be promptly addressed. Presidents of the Hengambu, Yanta and Babawaf landowner groups say they do not condone the actions of those who shut down the mine on Friday.
In a statement released today, Wafi Golpu Joint Ventures Executive Project Director Brian Bailey said activities at the exploration site are suspended until law and order is restored. Mr. Bailey said the company does not condone the actions of the protesters, saying this will damage investor confidence. On Friday, a group of protesters rallied at the Wafi project area's main gate at Demakwa, demanding that the mine be shut down until their demands are met. They demanded that the recently signed MOU between the state and the company be revoked and reviewed, as there was no consultation made prior to the signing.
We now demand that the developer must vacate our customary land for indefinite period until all our demands listed below are fully met.
This afternoon, the presidents of the Yanta, Hengambu and the Babuaf landowner groups in the Wafi project area said they do not approve of the actions of the protesters taken on Friday.
Miki se mouse na pace blo people blo Hengambu and in it this leadership only giving me true mandate me talk me against him.
They said the protest is illegal and the company needs to resume operations.
Me like talks about all the stakeholders, especially the state, the developer, Mipla landowners now. Mipla by talk right now, long company can start and work long.
Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Leh.
The 21-year-old woman who was fighting breast cancer since December in 2017 passed on yesterday morning at the Engau Hospital in Leh. Ruth Kaupa was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer in December 2017 and couldn't continue to do her second year of social studies and religion at Divine Word University. Ruth died after returning from Manila, Philippines in September last year after undergoing the radiotherapy treatment. The only machine for the treatment at Engau Hospital is not working and has been in need of maintenance and repair since 2016.
MTV took this interview in July last year when 21-year-old Ruth Kaupa and her family were doing awareness to raise funds for a radiotherapy treatment overseas.
Only to be involved this year, but I'm always I'm staying positive and I just can't wait to go back to school.
The 21-year-old woman from Chimbu returned to PNG last month with her mother after undergoing the treatment in Manila. According to Ruth's father, Brasti Kaupa, they had to return to the country because the treatment overseas was very expensive.
Free health care, it's not working. Now we have to spend hundreds of thousands of kina to go out with like a treatment, but that must be like a machine come to team now. At least we pay for it. Okay, it's better to spend 5,000 kina to get a treatment here and to spend hundreds to go out of the country.
Ruth Kaupa was diagnosed with breast cancer on the 25th of December 2017. In January last year, Kaupa underwent surgery and had her left breast removed. Radiotherapy was the last option for treatment, but doctors told her radiotherapy machine was out of order and that she could not be treated.
The government is duty bound to provide those equipments for citizen glaucoma treatment, those like in sick. But all not working. And a lot of people are dying every day because of negligence of the government. So government must come good and do something about it now. Provide this vital equipment
Ruth and her family raised almost 120,000 kina last year for her treatment overseas, but still that wasn't enough to help her get the treatment she urgently needed. In the 2017 budget, the national government allocated 60 million kina for 2 cancer units in Port Moresby and Lae. They are yet to be built. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
A clan leader in Manam has confirmed that recent eruptions this month have left thousands of people without food, clean water and shelter. Paul Maburao told EMTV after the eruptions, the affected villagers are still waiting for government assistance. He adds 3 villages were completely destroyed following the continuous eruptions since August 25th of last year.
Clan leader Paul Mamburao says the recent eruptions on the island have affected an estimated 5,000 men, women and children. There was no evacuation done to move the affected islanders to a safe location. He said the 8 fuel drums supplied by the Madang provincial government have already been used up. According to the Rabaul Volcanological Observatory, there is a strong possibility that there will be another eruption. Alerters have been advised to stay on high alert during times of rain. RVO will continue to monitor the activity and provide updates. Aside from the damages, there were no deaths during the last eruption. However, 3 villages were completely destroyed, including food gardens, water sources and houses. RVO has advised people not to venture or doing activities in the 4 main valleys where the lava flows through for a long time. Meanwhile, Provincial Disaster Director Rudolph Mongali cannot be reached to comment. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News.
The PNG Civil Identity Registry today opened a new facility to be used as a national data entry center and a fixed office for NCD registration. The facility will help speed up the process of NID registration and processing.
The new operations facility located at Mole House in Waigani will cater for 3 of the 6 core functions of the PNG Civil Identity Registry. These functions are registration, data entry and archival. The 3 remaining functions of approvals, printing of NID cards and issuance will be done at NID House. The progress in registering the people for the NID has been slow since January 2015, and this new facility will help speed up the process.
And when that happens, the speed is much faster because we allowed these people now will do possibly 2 times more registrations because of the way this is structured. So data entry at the moment, we've got 28 workstations. The picking, we're looking at going up to at least 150 workstations when we peak. And there's negotiations underway. We already secured another premise to do basically this.
The NID card is a requirement that all citizens of this country must have. Today, National Planning Minister Richard Maru, when opening the facility, challenged staff to work hard in getting the people registered. He has set a target of 2 million people to be recorded and registered in the NID by 31st December this year.
I don't want to hear complaints about people coming and getting the photos and waiting for 1, 2, 6 months, 12 months. That has to be a thing of the past. In 2019 now, we make a new start. You come and get your IDs done, within a week you should already get your cards. So I'm not looking for stuff, but you guys are going to perform now. Noble office now, change some culture now, I want delivery now.
The minister has urged all members of parliament and development partners to have the NID project as a priority. With this new facility, there is hope that the turnaround time will be shorter from the time they register to the time they are issued with a NID card and birth certificate. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
After a year of investigation, the Land Fraud and Investigation Team has declared Yamahomoka as the customary landowner of portion 528 and 1489. According to the report, the 2 portions rightfully belong to Dabunari Boteka ILG, a group registered under the Land Act. However, Lands Minister Justin Tachenko is yet to release the 2 land titles to the landowner group. Clan spokesperson Yamahomoka says the report is straightforward and Minister Tachenko must now release the titles for portion 528 and 1489. The 2 portions are currently occupied with an a NHC housing project and an agriculture project of a known businessman. The report was published late 2018. There is huge potential for cocoa-based products to be manufactured in the country. Paradise Company Chief Executive Officer Michael Shields said this when launching a new line of Queen Emma chocolates made from the finest Bougainville cocoa.
In 2012, Paradise Company embarked on its expansion into becoming a downstream processor of cocoa. Today, it welcomed a few more new brands to its popular Queen Emma chocolate range.
The cocoa-based products are a huge opportunity for Paradise Company and indeed PNG. I'm delighted and proud that Paradise has taken the lead with downstream processing of cocoa and adding value to what is a very significant primary crop in Papua New Guinea.
With its Queen Emma Chocolate Company, it has produced Papua New Guinea's very own chocolate.
We've now expanded our manufacturing capability to become a vertically integrated producer of customised premium cocoa products. Our chocolate chips are already being used in our lager choc chip vanilla ice cream, and soon we'll be supplying them a chocolate for chocolate sticks, a liquid chocolate to be frozen in their process.
Despite the company increasing its cocoa product line, Shields believes there is still more opportunity for local PNG cocoa-based products to be exported and sold overseas.
The capability to produce a premium alkalised cocoa powder, cocoa butters and liquors create new sales opportunities, as Karina mentioned, for us to sell to other food and beverage manufacturers in both PNG and internationally.
Shields says Paradise Food Company will continue to delight its customers with more new and exciting flavoured chocolate in the near future.
And with a mass target market in mind, the Kina bar is called that because of its price point of 1 Kina, aimed at being affordable to the majority of Papua New Guineans and an introduction to the taste of chocolate. We hope, as a result of this initiative, that people will like our chocolate and move toward our other products, our bigger bars and blocks and our gift packs.
Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
After the break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines overseas. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, 3 skiers have died and a 4th is missing after being caught in an avalanche in the Austrian Alps. More than 20 people have died in weather-related incidents across Central Europe over the past week after record snowfall.
Mountain regions in Austria are used to snow, but this is extreme. Days of heavy snowfall are taking their toll. Last night, 3 skiers from Germany were killed in an avalanche in Lech. Their bodies were found on a ski route that had been closed off because of the danger of avalanches. A 4th person is still missing.
Risiko wäre im Moment viel zu hoch für die Helfer.
Yesterday evening we decided to cancel the search because it had become too dangerous. We know how the weather will develop, so we can probably initiate the search again on Wednesday.
The risk of more avalanches is very high. Some ski resorts and mountain villages have had to be evacuated. Other areas are snowed in. These firefighters near the town of Kleinzell in central Austria are working round the clock to clear snow from homes and buildings. The snow is very heavy and there's a real risk this roof could cave in.
It's quite dangerous work. As you can see, all the men are harnessed because you can easily slip off while coming down. So the risk is relatively high.
Driving conditions are treacherous.
It's a struggle to keep the streets clear. Underneath this white blanket is a tarmac road. This area hasn't seen this much snow in well over a decade.
In neighbouring Germany, the army has been brought in to help clear the roads. And people here are bracing themselves for more. Heavy snow is forecast over the next few days.
Meanwhile, a fierce winter storms killed 10 across parts of America and left hundreds of thousands without power in sub-zero temperatures. A state of emergency has been declared in Virginia, with most of the East Coast facing a grim forecast for the days ahead.
Tonight, that deadly winter storm reaching the East Coast. Millions from Kansas to southern New Jersey digging out from a massive wintry blast. Ice and snow making roads treacherous. At least 10 dead, dozens injured, nearly 200,000 without power across 8 states. Virginia's governor declaring a state of emergency there. Icy conditions causing this sand truck to flip over. Motorists abandoning their cars in Maryland. Whiteout conditions blinding drivers, and authorities in that state describing the hazardous roads at one point as being impossible to get around on. In the nation's capital,
we're approaching 10 inches of snow here in our nation's capital. The White House just 200 yards that way, and you can barely see it through this heavy snow.
Government workers clearing walkways on the National Mall, shoveling during the government shutdown and not getting paid for it.
It's not fair. You know, no one enjoys doing it. We do it because that's part of our job as it is right now.
And in Pittsburgh, crews rescuing 2 people after their cars slipped off a snowy road. And parts of North Carolina glazed in a half an inch of ice. In the Midwest, the cleaning up now beginning. West of St. Louis, the storm dumping up to 20 inches of snow, wreaking havoc on highways statewide, resulting in at least 800 crashes in Missouri. Air travel also impacted in the region, with at least 800 flights canceled nationwide and over 2,200 delayed. This Delta plane skidding off an icy tarmac in Cincinnati this morning. Fortunately, no one on board injured.
A learner driver in Australia has gone viral for all the wrong reasons. He attracted the attention of police after crashing into a parked car and attempting to flee the scene. But it's not only the police he has to worry about. He might be in trouble with his girlfriend as well, especially after the story was viewed millions of times.
It could be a scene straight out of Highway Patrol. Caleb Camp sat on the grass, a sorry figure surrounded by police and smashed cars. But what happened on Cambridge Street in Kurrajong? Best let the man himself explain it.
And I was only driving slow, but put my foot down a bit and then I turned, but didn't see a car coming around here and seen him once I turned, boom, collided. And then legged it because I was scared.
Camp's to camp was short-lived when bystanders challenged his escape bid.
He chased me down, started having a go at me for legging it, and I was like, nah, I'll come back too easy. I've just come over just to help the lad, that's all. That's all I'm doing.
Police weren't impressed, to say the least.
That red vehicle should not have been on the road. It's unregistered, it's uninsured. The driver hasn't got the appropriate licence, and there'll be another charge coming for his manner of driving as well.
But that's just the start of his woes. The 18-year-old was driving his girlfriend's car.
She's going to see this on news for sure, and she ain't going to like it. It's her car on the 14th, so not no more.
After the police moved on, Caleb and his mates' next mission was to push their car home instead of paying for a tow truck.
No, they wanted to go charge $250.
Yeah, $250 just there. Just to there.
So, with a bit of makeshift maintenance and a little help from bystanders.
I just wanted to help the boys out.
And I mean, why wouldn't you want to help him?
Telling them, far from bad, man, like best bloke you're going to ever meet.
They made it home.
Another day in paradise.
In the United States, it seems Donald Trump is losing the blame game over the partial government shutdown. A new poll shows more than half of Americans feel the president is responsible for the longest shutdown in U.S. history. But support for building a border wall is increasing.
This is information on community marketplaces in Maryland, Virginia.
As the politicians wrangle, the tangible effects of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history are on display. This a food bank for some of the hundreds of thousands of government workers who are working but not being paid.
Most of all, the shutdown has affected me emotionally. I mean, we didn't ask for this. I'm a veteran. I've served my country as well as worked at the State Department for over 35 years.
Pressure is building on President Trump. The latest opinion polls show more Americans blame him and his party for the shutdown than the Democrats. For his part, the president is making much of the fact that whilst he's here in Washington, ready and willing to negotiate, Democrat leaders are in Puerto Rico for a winter retreat and a fundraising performance of the musical Hamilton. Early this morning, he tweeted, "I'm in the White House waiting. The Democrats are everywhere but Washington as people await their pay. They're having fun and not even talking." The president has toyed with declaring a national emergency in order to get funding for his wall, but some senior Republicans are urging caution.
I would urge him to open up the government for a short period of time, like 3 weeks, before he pulls the plug, see if we can get a deal.
The trickle-down effects of this dispute are being felt at places like this. Miami International Airport has been forced to partly close one of its terminals because of a shortage of staff. With air traffic controllers also caught up in the dispute, union officials are warning that the longer it goes on, the greater the chance that passenger safety could be compromised.
Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin keeping secrets. The U.S. president fighting back against media reports that he confiscated notes made by his interpreter during private talks with the Russian president.
A bombshell report in the Washington Post claiming President Trump went to, quote, extraordinary lengths to conceal details of his conversations with Russian President Vladimir Putin from his own administration. The Post reporting that at that private meeting in Hamburg back in 2017, the president confiscated his own interpreter's notes. The president denies he did anything wrong.
I don't care. I mean, I had a conversation like every president does. I do it with all countries. We had a great conversation. I'm not keeping anything under wraps. I couldn't care less.
The paper also quoting an unnamed official who claimed that when the president and Putin met in Helsinki with their interpreters in July 2018, Trump accepted Putin's denial of Russian meddling in the 2016 election, saying, quote, I believe you.
I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
The president later walked back those comments, but the White House calling this report, quote, outrageously inaccurate. While critics are saying this breaks protocol, Republicans are standing by him.
I want to find out a little bit more about what happened there. I want to learn more than just the allegations in the press.
The White House shooting down another shocking report in the New York Times. And the paper claimed the FBI opened a counterintelligence investigation into whether the president was acting on behalf of the Russians when he fired FBI Director James Comey. Last night on Fox News, the president asked point blank whether he worked on behalf of Russia. He fired back at the Times, but did not respond directly.
Are you now, or have you ever worked for Russia, Mr. President?
I think it's the most insulting thing I've ever been asked. And if you read the article, you'd see that they found absolutely nothing.
After the break, we take a look at sporting updates in Chukai Sports. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. With 1 week to go before the start of PNG's semi-professional competition, the National Soccer League, Southern Strikers FC have been preparing well for the upcoming challenge. This team began its training after the festive season.
The Southern Strikers Football Club is in the Southern Conference of NSL. The team will be up against some stiff competition, including NSL giants Ekari United in this year's tournament. Fielding a lot of young players, the team is concentrated on preparation as the key to their 2019 campaign.
You find that there's a lot of young boys in the team. Our preparation, we've since last year. Then last year we played the season, end of season. Then we've started since end of November, December. The boys went off for holidays and now they're back again.
2019 is the second year Southern Strikers take part in NSL. School Football Vice President Wesley Waiwai says the team is comprised of young players picked from the Port Moresby Soccer Association who are currently training through an academy program.
So we had the first season last year, and this was the second season. So what we've done is Schools Football Association Port Moresby, we have an academy. So most of the boys here, they're all in the secondary schools right around the city. So you got from Geru Secondary all the way, we had Quarry Park, and then you got like Pom Grammar, Paradise High School. You got all of them playing here.
With most players coming from various backgrounds, the young Southern Strikers outfit is coached by Margaret Aka, who is also the head coach for Strikers Academy program.
From startup, they're coming from all sorts of backgrounds. So we've got one of the three, B licensed Papua New Guinea coaches, and we've got the female one, Margaret Aka. She's the head coach for this development program.
The team began the NSL campaign with a friendly match over the weekend against Munkas FC. It was a good start, Strikers defeating Munkas 1-0. Suli, National EMTV Sports.
The Southern Highlands Provincial Government is backing other stakeholders to host the 2028 PNG Games in Mendi. This afternoon, a funding of $500,000 kina was presented to the host organising committee. Governor William Powie says despite the much critic of recent events in the province, Powie is confident of successfully hosting the Games.
The financial support of $500,000 is the first initial funding by the Southern Highlands Provincial Government to host the Games in Mendi. This is apart from the $10 million budgeted in the Southern Highlands Provincial budget for 2019. Governor William Powie says the Games will trigger development through sport and be a platform to showcase its hospitality despite past events in the province.
We have the difficulties, the law and order problems. We have the devastation that has been caused by the earthquake, but we want to, as provincial government and as leader of the province, use the 2020 Games to transform what we have and showcase what we have in Southern Highlands to trigger change for the better.
It would cost around $180 million to build sporting facilities and host the 8th PNG Games in Mendi. Despite this mammoth task, the host organizing committee and the PNG Sports Federation are in consultation to meet necessary requirements for athletes and facilities.
Our expectation is that our athletes are number one, and we make sure that all the services around the athletes is to a certain standard. As long as Onogan got bell pen, you got good clean power, you got all fresh kaikai that are set up. And I mean, what better environment would an athlete want? Perfect temperature.
Hawk Chairman Sape Molume says with the drive and political support, the committee will provide the best guidance to host the Games come 2020.
With that confidence and with that political will, you have the rest assured that the technical team and the host organizing committee will get straight away into work, and we will make sure that the facilities that are required for the 21 courts can be delivered in time.
Meanwhile, Governor Powie is appealing to oil and gas developers in the province, including other stakeholders, to support the levels of government to host the Games.
Oil Sets is an important stakeholder in Southern Highlands. Oil Sets must help the Southern Highlands Provincial Government and National Government to deliver these 2020 grassroots games in Southern Highlands.
According to the Hawk Plan, other sporting facilities will be built in 3 districts of the province, while the main games will be centered in Mendi. The 8th PNG Grassroots Games will be held come November 2020. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues with more after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Ase and Watson Boas have encouraged players in the current SB Hunters train-on squad to do their best. The Boas brothers left the SB Hunters team to join the Featherstone Rovers, a team in the United Kingdom.
Through Watson Boas.
The Boas brothers played essential roles in the SP PNG Hunters team over the past 3 years. Coach Michael Marom is building a fairly new team for the 2019 season, with the spine of the team moving abroad to further their rugby league careers. With 2 months left before the start of the Queensland Interest Super Cup season, former SP Hunters captain Ase Boas encouraged players to be more disciplined.
I think the encouragement to the new boys is just to be more disciplined and doing little things right will get you there. Just the attitude will bring the team spirit together and continue.
Humility, respect, and the desire to do better is what many SP Hunters players possess. These virtues are what Ase says will help the team progress in the competition.
And continue to be obedient to what little things that we have and respect each other, and that's how we'll get there.
Playing for the SPPNG Hunters in the Q Cup is a whole new experience for players who have been selected from the National Intercity Cup competition. Former halfback Watson Boas has encouraged new players in the team to work hard.
Now antes em narapa level, so encouragement blo all like you play blo country blo now ino mo di sel cup mi play blo province na dislakain, so take him serious, give him what our best week in week out training. Games want them.
The SPPNG Hunters 2019 squad will be announced before their trial match against the Brisbane Broncos on the 23rd of February at the Earl Search National Football Stadium. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The SPPNG Hunters may have lost their most decorated halves pairing, but the Boas brothers, who left for England last week Thursday, say they have to face new challenges in their rugby league careers.
When they departed, family were there to bid them farewell, with Watson holding his son for the last time. What lays ahead for siblings Watson and Ase Boas is another journey on from the Hunters, this time to England, to their new club, the Featherstone Rovers. It's always an aspiration for PNG Rugby League players to go beyond our borders to take on new challenges.
Many jalo have been calling me, and I've been contract or some asking me one thing to me. I've been accepting because the following year I've been some contract, but me lay him off just to play low SP Hunters for the last year.
I think dream little boys to at least further their career with not only in one club. So not only in one club, but going overseas is one of the goals that Ogatamangi look forward for. So
the brothers, along with Thompson Tete, finally securing contracts to go overseas. True, reliable player managers.
The past years, we have been struggling this side to player manager, seeking all clubs, we have been struggling, but the last 2 years, we have thank you, 7-star international come on board. So I've been helping me through, seeking more clubs going up, me like some clubs play this year.
Watson and Ase seem inseparable, playing together back home in East New Britain, making it into the Gurias team, and then on into the Hunters, the Kumuls, and now the Rovers.
I think I've been liking me to plan time ago, since the combination with Laben got finished, so when time contract come, I've been given the full package, now splitting a melo to blast.
Great playing with him again out there, so combination and stuff in his. We'll have new environment, new boys playing against them, but as long as we understand each other, it will be work well for us.
The brothers are looking to have a shot at Super League as part of their contract in their competition.
Contract one player, but I mean, it depends on the performance of the plan. I mean, second year or extended contract on the plan.
The brothers leave the SPPNG Hunters after a successful stint with the club. Ase Boas captaining the 2017 Intra Super Cup Championship winning side. Ase is the fourth most capped player in the club, playing 89 games for the Hunters, scoring 33 tries, that's the fifth most for the club, and he scored 174 goals, that's the second most for the club, and a field goal. 471 points in total, he is the highest point scorer of the Hunters team. Watson Boas played 66 games, that's the 9th most for the club. He scored 22 tries, the 10th most for the club. Scored 17 goals, that's the 5th most for the club. With a total of 122 points, that's the 8th most for the club. The brothers thank their family for the support and hope to make good with the opportunity given to them.
Thank you, family, because all through Lokera, come all supportive, na Lokchis the contract, all got been filled down like all missing me this lab install in our country, but then encouragement will only support me.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Stay tuned for weather details coming up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Looking at the weather forecast in the Highlands region, a shower or two right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Tuabeg.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Monday, 14th of January 2019. On behalf of the news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.